It is disgraceful to build strength on McGill's mistake. Cue up the video.
I've been lucky to measure. In fact, probably the only scientist in the world who's had the privilege of measuring, world's strongest man competitors, top bodybuilders, world record powerlifters, and how do they train? When I think of the man who has the strongest core and rotational spine that I've ever measured, do you think he does a lot of full range of motion side to side? No. He will stop, twist. In other words, his landmine exercise, where some people, they freeze their hips and take their spine through the range of motion, they're not the strongest. The strongest are the ones who can lock this in and then spin through their feet and through their hips.
Right.
In other words, they are stopping motion.
What do you have to say to that?
I'd say pomp and circumstance, fraud, intellectual, academic bully. You don't know what you're talking about when it comes to the basics, which is locomotion. You can't be gainfully employed in strength and conditioning unless you pass the CSCS examination. You need the credential of being a certified spine certified stiffener from the NSCA. Otherwise, you don't get to work. So what are the rules for employment? Oh, the core doesn't generate power. Oh, I got to keep it stiff. Oh, side bending is bad. And that has captured the industry. And this is 2 decades of misinformation, building strength on dysfunction, the cardinal sin, because their guy, the emperor of stiffness, says that the core has to be braced stiff because the ball and socket joints do the power. The spine can only transmit power. It's beyond annoying and frustrating because it's not true. And if you can't even move yourself from right here to right there without compensatory restrictive tension rising up in the body because you are not balanced, because you've given people the impossible task, which is to maintain a rigid, stiff spine, to move better. It's impossible to move with balance and power without rotation. These people don't even know the difference between twisting and rotating, right? They don't know the difference.